Hello everyone, welcome back to Source Studios, and today I want to just level with you all. This is going to be a real video. So if you're looking for like some of my classic funny content or I guess more happier content or a Lego review or something like that, you should watch another video of mine. Because this is gonna get real. And so I was looking through I have a Lego YouTube ideas list that I can pull from and make videos from, that I just like brainstorm sometimes when I'm in the car. And I'm currently in the process of making a video of beginning to collect Lego. This is just gonna be advice and tips on anyone who's thinking about starting to collect Lego and how to go about that and what to do and what to focus on and just financially and all that stuff, how you can get started of making a Lego collection yourself. And I'm making this list and I realized I should probably make this video first, which is just pretty much a preface video to the how to begin to have a Lego collection video. And this one is the only toxic thing about Lego. I think it's very important to have like this disclosure out there first. So that's what we're talking about today. Have a huge problem with, and this isn't just Lego, this is just everyone. I struggle with this too, and that idea is living in the now. I remember one of my friends from back in high school, she told me about this book she was reading. It's called, I think it was called Living in the Now. And it was pretty much just focused around how a lot of the times we find ourselves living in the past or the future. And it's very tempting to do that in several ways. In some ways, the past can weigh us down. We can be stuck in this sense of toxic shame, maybe guilt of the past. Maybe there's something that has happened in the past that you wish you could undo, or maybe something you did or wish you had done that's just keeping like a hold on you. Maybe it's I don't know, maybe it's like a past relationship that you can't move on from. Or maybe it's a death that you're missing someone, or maybe it's even just a pet, or maybe, I don't know, something in the past. And then the future can do the same thing. We can be so preoccupied about the future, like, oh my gosh, I need to, I guess, save money for all these potential expenses with my car, and just your entire everyday life of present day is focused on how can I get money for a repair that may or may not come. You could also live in the future and hopefully like daydreaming about your future spouse or your future boyfriend or girlfriend, which I've been guilty of doing that in the past. And on the surface level, it doesn't seem bad to do that, but in reality it kind of is, because you're daydreaming about someone that you don't know, and if you do know, probably you're looking at them in a very unrealistic sense, and in a way you are trying to manipulate that perfect image, and then now you've risen the bar so high for this person that probably doesn't exist, and you're not going to be open to someone who could be your spouse, but you've already constructed this person in your head, and so like now there's no wiggle room for like, oh, I could love someone like this or like that. And then there's also got myself just like daydreaming about, oh, like what, if I had a girlfriend I could do this. But like if you're focusing on, oh, what if this, then you're not focusing on the now, because like, oh, I could go out to the mall with my girlfriend. Well, I could go out to the mall with my friends right now. Like, I could go out with my friend Caleb or Hunter or Cassie or whatever, and just have a good time right now. And it's just, there is a huge problem in today's society, especially in Western world, like first world culture, about living in the now, because we're so tempted to just dwell on the past, or we're so tempted to just worry or dream about the future. And by the time the day is over, all we've done is really lived in the past or the future. We haven't done anything today. And I think something that really speaks to me, and I'll try to keep the first half of this video as like as least amount of, I don't even know how to say this. I'll try to keep this first half video as far away from any Catholic talk or religious talk. But I will say this because I do think it's relevant, so relevant that I can't wait to say it to the latter half of the video. But there is this verse where it talks about, you know, yesterday is like past, tomorrow is uncertain, like the only thing you have is today. And I mean, the Bible talks a lot about, you know, past is the past, it's gone, you know, like that was yesterday, you know, it's gone stale, you know, it's over. And then tomorrow isn't a promise, it's not even a guarantee, because tomorrow we could all die. From a Catholic Christian point of view, Jesus could come back. From anyone else's point of view, a nuclear war could literally happen at any time. You could be hit by a car, awful stuff can happen. And it does happen to people. I think we live in this somewhat falsified reality that like, oh, I'm gonna live till I'm 80, or like I have that natural assurance that I'll live till I'm 60. And we don't really recognize, because we live in a first world country, the gravity of how frail life is, and how always looking to the future. It's not always unhealthy to look to the future, but doing it all the time can get to a point where it's very unhealthy. And so if we're gonna bring this back to Lego, the only toxic thing about Lego, I think the only toxic thing about Lego is that, you know, there's always, you know, they're always improving, they'll always come out with new, cool, shiny products. And especially with a collector, like myself, or at least I was a collector, you know, you can be consumed with the whole, oh, I can't wait till the next rumor video comes out, or, oh, there we go, there's a predictions video, and I can't wait till we get pictures leaked, and, you know, you get like a dopamine high. Like, I don't know if you noticed, like, even if we see a crappy, like, 4-pixeled photo with the word, like, confidential written across the screen, and like it's very blurry, if we see that picture for like an upcoming set, we go berserk. Like our, you know, it gives something to our brain that just sends off these like neurons that are just like, ooh, like I finally get to sort of see in a very crappy format what this set could look like, and I want it already. And it just like feeds into this like desire for the next thing. And this was one of the reasons why I decided to, I sort of talked about this in like my whole selling my Lego collection and reflecting on selling my Lego collection, because I realized I have a lot of great Lego. Like my collection, objectively at its peak, at its height, probably was like, gosh, it was probably like a top, I don't know, a top 1,000 collections in the United States. I don't know if that's too pompous to say. That probably is too pompous. There probably is a lot more people who have better collections. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I have some pretty rare sets. Maybe I would say top 1,000 of Star Wars collections in the United States. I think I could get behind that. I mean, like I have and had a lot of really cool and rare Star Wars memorabilia when it came to Lego stuff. And I realized just like, wow, I have a really awesome collection. But deep down inside, I was still like, it's not enough. You know, I still was like checking off sets from my bucket list of like, these are the sets I want to get, sets I still don't have, but I've always wanted, and so I'm gonna keep searching for them. And it was always like a hunt for the next one. And the thing is about this world with fleeting happiness is that it feels good in the moment. But afterward, but it's not lasting. It's not fulfilling. It doesn't satisfy forever. And I guess this is probably the part of the video where I'm gonna start to shift into like more of a religious context, more of a Catholic vibe, because we can look at, once again, at any aspect of life with fleeting happiness, because yeah, you get the dopamine high of the search, the hunt, buying the set and getting the set, and now it's fresh in your hand, and opening it up and pulling out and building it, and then it's built, and then maybe we play with it for a little bit. We like to look at it at sometimes, but the initiality of that like magical vibe that you got from the set kind of wears off. And so what do we have to do? We have to go out and buy more Lego to get that same dopamine high. You can say, oh, that's bogus, whatever. Okay, I challenge you this. Can you name anyone, including yourself, who has wanted a Lego set, bought the Lego set, and that Lego set has satisfied them for the rest of their life? Like, didn't need to buy any more Lego because that set just did it. No, you can't. Why? Because it's not eternally satisfying. It's merely it's a temporal happiness, in which, if we want to continue in the state of that happiness, we have to continue to buy more and more Lego. Because if Lego was truly sufficient for happiness, then you could buy one set and be good. You could own one brick and be satisfied. But no amount of Lego is going to ever satisfy anyone eternally, because you're always going to need that dopamine high of getting the set, building the set, displaying it, playing with it until you don't want to play with it anymore. And sure, there will be some days where like maybe you come back, you're like, oh, I really love this set. But not every day is going to have that fulfillment of happiness. Like some people, when they look at their Ninjago City Garden set, all they see is that they don't have the Ninjago City Docks or the Ninjago City set. Like, they don't see a garden set, they see what they don't have. And this goes into how us as a society, as a culture, we like to focus on the things that we don't have rather than the things that we do have. I think, for an example, and I don't want to get too political, but something that we have in America is, like, compared to the rest of the world. Now, I'm not saying that this is justifying what we have right here, because I'm going to get into that, but what we do have in America, objectively speaking, is a set of laws and government that is not racist, that is not racially profiled or binding. There are no laws that are in place right now that says if you are this certain race, then you have such and such and such. Now, are there still racist people? Yes. And is that a problem? Yes. Just because we have it better than other countries doesn't mean that we should just be, stay satisfied. But I think something that we could all learn from is that if you look at places like Africa, South America, Middle Eastern countries, even Asia, racism here is far less severe than those places. And so the lesson here is that, don't just focus on one or the other. Focus on what we do have, which is, hey, I have it better off than all these other nations when it comes to racism. And that's great. And then look at the stuff that we don't have. But here is how we can improve. And it's dangerous to only see what we do have, because then you ignore the stuff that we don't have, that we could improve to progress towards. But then it's also dangerous to only look at what we don't have, because if we only look at what we don't have, then nothing will ever satisfy us. Think about it. If you only think about what you don't have, you're never gonna have it, because once it goes into the have category, something new comes into the don't have category, and now it doesn't mean as much because you have it. It's sort of like the whole, I've known a couple people who are not satisfied when they get into a relationship because they realize, oh, like, I'm super attracted to this person because I don't have them. But now that I do have them, the chase isn't there. I don't really feel that dopamine rush anymore. And so, there's just a lot of examples I could go through about how we focus on what we don't have versus what we do have and appreciate what we do have. And so we're going into, once again, more of a religious aspect of Lego. And so if we're always focusing on what we don't have, we're never going to be able to use what we do have. We're never going to be able to appreciate what we have. And the reason why we always look to what we don't have is because if we focus on what we do have, we still feel an emptiness. And so we trick our minds into thinking, well, the reason why I still feel empty is because of the don't have category. I need to move all that stuff into the have category, and then I'll feel complete. But as I said before, always focusing on the don't have. No matter how much stuff you have in the don't have that you move over to the have column, you will never feel completely complete. And you can see that with rich people, with celebrities. Just talk with rich people. Like, you know, they the only reason why rich people are satisfied ever is because they continuously pour money into whatever is keeping them temporally happy. So let's say, you know, Lego gives you a happiness for 2 days after receiving the set. Now, the reason why rich people appear to be happy all the time is because they have enough money to buy Lego every 2 days. So if one set makes you happy for 2 days, and then after 2 days, you know, that high is gone, then if you have enough Lego to buy, if you have enough money to buy Lego every 2 days, you will constantly be happy. And that is turning a temporal happiness into an eternal happiness because of the material that has been given to you. But for people, you know, who are poor, who cannot afford Lego every 2 days, it's more clear to us that it is temporal, it's not eternally. And there are a lot of rich people who find that, you know, they have all the money, they have all this stuff, they have the fame, they have the glory, they have that spouse, and yet they're still unhappy. I mean, there's so many stories about famous people and rich people committing suicide. And it's like, obviously money isn't the answer, or stuff isn't the answer, or fame or power isn't the answer, because these people wouldn't have been suicidal if it was, because they're searching for happiness, for answers, for that fulfillment elsewhere. And I'd like to just point out that never, even Christians, and this is to everyone, including Christians and Catholics, we will never feel 100% complete ever in our life, and that's something we have to grapple with and be okay with. Now, it will depend on, you know, where should I go to try to have this completeness, and my answer would be God. My answer would be the Bible. My answer would be the church. My answer would be Christianity, because the most full I've ever felt is when I search for Jesus, and in search for God, when I'm at church, when I'm worshiping at Mass, when I'm in Scripture and reading the Word of God. But we will never feel 100% complete. So some Christians, you know, like, I think some Christians walk away from the faith for this reason. Like, okay, I have God, but I still feel incomplete, so it can't be it. That's false, because God is the answer. Is the reason why you still sometimes feel an emptiness is because we're on this earth, and we are made for heaven. We are made we are made to be in direct relationship with Jesus, as in, like, person to person, like, with each other. Because this veil of this world, we can't deny it. There is a separation of this world and heaven. Now, you know, God's grace still reaches us. Jesus still reaches us. God still reaches us through many different methods, through the Bible, through His Holy Catholic Church, through Eucharist, through baptism, through reconciliation. We can feel the presence of Jesus, and that's when I most feel full, are in moments like those. But we'll never be able to fully have it, not because it's not the answer, because all of those things are eternally sufficient. God is eternally sufficient for our joy and happiness. But because we are fallen, because we're imperfect still, because we're still in these flesh bodies, because we are still on this earth, we still have to deal with the aspect of sin. So it's not the absence of God, it's not the lack of sufficiency of God that makes us feel empty still. It's the presence of sin. And that's why we will never feel completely fulfilled, because we are meant to be perfect. We were made to be perfect. We're made in the image and likeness of God. And then the fall happened, and now we are imperfect. And that's why we feel that's why we don't feel full. And Scott Hahn, I'm gonna butcher this so much, but Scott Hahn was talking about sort of like what happened after we stopped after us as a culture, as a world, as a nation, as just people stopped focusing on religion to unify us. Because you look at the Protestant Reformation, and after the Protestant Reformation comes the Enlightenment, which was, we can't agree on religion, because for those of you who don't know, the Protestant Reformation, Martin Luther, John Calvin, Zwingli, all were like, hey, we don't agree with the Catholic Church, we don't agree with this doctrine that's been taught consistently for 1500 years, and so we are going to break off from the United Church and try to start our own church based on our own interpretations, our own man-made traditions that we are going to create using scripture incorrectly. And so they started that. So the Age of Enlightenment comes about because people are like, okay, we can't agree on religion, then let's just agree with ideas, with idealism. And that's the whole thing about the Enlightenment. It's just ideas and discussing of ideas and thoughts and trying to encapsulate yourself in those ideas. But the problem with ideas is that there's nothing like, there's no status quo. There's no like foundation for ideas. It's just, I could have an idea, it could be based off of something, but like there's no regulating force driving these ideas. So for 1500 years, the Catholic Church has been given the authority by Jesus in Matthew 16 and then apostles in Matthew 18 to be that driving force and determining force of, here are the ideas and this is how we interpret them, this is the ideas of Christ, this is how we interpret them, and they were the status quo of thought. But now we have ideas without accountability. And so people find out, okay, I guess we can't connect with ideas because there's no force holding them to one idealism. That's where ideas just go everywhere. So they're like, okay, we can't agree with ideas. So now people are trying to find identity in revolution, in being themselves, and being unique, in being their own country, in unifying underneath one cause. And so we then, after the Enlightenment, we have a crap ton of revolutions. So many, like American, French, we could go on and on and on, Scottish, just revolutions all across the world, you know. And we then find out that isn't fulfilling, because we've revolted against this tyrannical government. And this is once again temporal, because as we all know, with every country, they establish a new government and people are still unhappy with the government. They thought it'd be better. Sometimes it does turn out better, but there's still problems, and sometimes it turns out worse, because those people were just wanting to be dictators hidden themselves and using the revolutions to get there. And so revolutions were not the case. Then we had 20th century, which was consumerism, buy whatever you want. I guess we could technically go back to like Industrial Revolution in the 1900s, because in the 1800s, that's what I was talking about, Industrial Revolution in the 1800s, because that was more like a, anything you could think can be, it was like the dream. If you had a dream, you could go off and make it and get it. And so it was like follow your dream sort of time frame, and then you start immigration to America and all that stuff, and that wasn't fulfilling because if you couldn't complete the dream, then you felt unfulfilled with your life. And even if you did complete the dream, it's, once again, it's just a dream. And once you complete the dream, there's nothing to continue on towards. And so it leaves you feeling unfulfilled. I mean, like, when was the last time you, like, I don't know, completed something and I was like, yeah, I'm fully satisfied that I completed this one goal? Because you then need to because then as human nature, we want to be better and better and better. So if I pass one level in a video game, I'm going to want to pass the next level. And if I get through all the levels of the video game, I'll feel some sense of fulfillment and completion. But if the gamers come out with more levels, suddenly that's gone. That temporal happiness of completing that video game is gone, because now there's more to that game. So you can't say having a dream and then completing it is going to give you eternal happiness, because someone can just add another step to that dream and boom, dream is no longer fulfilled. It's no longer in fulfillment. Then we have the 20th century, 1900s, consumerism. You can buy anything, you can have anything you want. And this is where, Lego starts to come in. Lego starts in what, 60s or 70s or something like that. And this is the whole thing about, like, let's just go out. I'm gonna buy the car I want. I'm gonna buy the house I want. I'm gonna get that job that I want or whatever. And we just start buying stuff. And then, as I talked before, that's very unfulfilling. And so, what are we doing now? We've gotten into the age of, it's not really consumerism. It's like labels or belonging, or I don't even know how to describe it. But we keep on jumping from generation to generation ever since the Protestant Reformation. The entire world has been in a frenzy to find commonality. I'm not going to say that this didn't happen before the Protestant Reformation, but within the age of Christendom, where Europe understood that the most important thing was faith, and everyone in Europe was Catholic. They believed in Jesus. Everyone was Catholic. Sure, there were Jews and Muslims in Europe as well, but the population was low, and a lot of Jews converted to Catholicism. And so, just this general sense of unification between church and state. Now, they still had separation of church and state, but the separation was functionality only, where in today's world, church and state is separation by functionality and principality. Back then in Christendom, it was just functionality. Principality was the same. The values of the church, values of the government were understood to be in sync. And for so long, all of those people were unified underneath that. And it's sad to see what happens when it's sad to see what happens when you begin to split a religion, because now Christians can't say, oh yeah, we're on the same page of everything, which is what Jesus was intending to. You could argue for it's in Matthew, I don't remember which verse, I'm sorry, but it's, I want you to be one as me and the Father are one. That's a huge, tall order to fill. I want us, Christians should be one as me and the Father are one. If you were to see, like, I don't know, a Presbyterian and an evangelical, you wouldn't say that they're one as the Father and the Son is one. You could say that, yeah, they have similarities. They both believe in Jesus. They probably believe in a lot more than just Jesus similarly, but they're not one as Jesus and the Father are one. They're not part of the same body, because a kingdom cannot stand when it's divided amongst itself. And, Protestantism has become one of the most divided kingdoms currently in today's world. We have around 40,000 different denominations within Protestantism, and it's just so divided. We can't come on to any conclusive matter for everyone. And so, wow, I just went off on a religious tangent. Anyway, the whole point of this video is a future warning that if you are looking to Lego to satisfy your happiness because you feel empty inside, I'm telling you right now, Lego is not going to fulfill that. It just isn't. Lego is not going to be that thing that's going to make you happy. And it's gonna, I'm not gonna lie, it will consume you a little bit if you don't keep it in check. And I'll talk about this in the beginning to collect Lego video that I will be posting later. But just keep in mind, Lego community can sometimes be a little toxic because it's always focusing to the next, to the future. It's always seeing lots of people that have stuff that you don't have. But just remember, keep this in mind. If you have Lego, you have more Lego than some kid in Africa. You have more Lego than some kid in South America. You have more Lego than some kids here in America that are in poverty. And be thankful for that. Keep the joy in the Lego that you buy and get to keep and play with. Don't, life is too short to always be focused on the next and not looking forward to the now. So that's what I just want to leave you with, those thoughts. Hope you all are enjoying my channel. Like, comment, subscribe if you are. Click that bell icon so you don't miss out on when I'm posting new videos, and also join the Discord server. Link in the description below. Also, if you want to win my dropshipping AT-OT Walker as part of my getting rid of my Lego collection and spreading happiness to more people, go check out my video on how to win my dropshipping AT-OT Walker. And yeah, one of you will win it. One of you is gonna win that lucky set. You have until October 1st, by the way. Okay, so thanks all for watching. This is Story Studios. See you on the next video. Peace.